Welcome to the Calling All Creeps podcast. My name is Bryce.
And I'm Nathan.
And Nathan, what are we going to be talking about on this dark, terrifying, horror-filled night?
Well, we got a fun one today, Bryce. Got an old favorite of mine, and I would assume yours too, and that's Courage the Cowardly Dog, which has been a long time coming on this podcast. It's got to be like one of the big things of all time, right? Certainly, if you were a child around the time that we were, you have probably been traumatized at least once or twice by this show, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone probably... I hear there's some episodes I think people will cite a lot, but I'm sure everyone's got a different character that might, or episode that might have fucked him up a little bit. I know I have one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a few of those. There's a handful of them. But, you know, when I was a kid, I watched this nonstop. I used to binge this show all the time. Loved it, and was also horrified by it. In fact, I had the full spectrum of emotions going on with this show. It made me laugh. It made me happy. It made me depressed, terrified, sometimes just downright grossed out and disgusted. Like, there's a lot of really gross stuff in this show. But I loved it, and I just, like, no matter how disturbing it would sometimes get, sometimes downright off-putting, I would always come back to it and just binge this show.
I agree. I think those are some really good words to describe it. Off-putting and, I mean, sort of gruesome sometimes. But, yeah, even with that in mind, usually in, like, the animation style, it is one, I love it, and I've seen every episode, and I love watching this show, even though, like, sometimes it can be a little disturbing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, like, so what is your history with this? I would assume, like me, you were just watching it because it was on, right?
Yeah. My history with it is probably, I would probably say I first saw it at the end of... there's a couple Scooby-Doo movies where they showed Courage the Cowardly Dog shorts at the end of it. I believe Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost has one, and Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase also had.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so I think that's kind of they were on the VHS, so I think that was my first thing, and then, yeah, would definitely catch it if I was somewhere with a TV. But then, yeah, as an adult, I've gone back and watched every episode just because I remember loving it so much.
Yeah, well, this show has an interesting relationship with the horror genre. I would say that, there's some debate to be had, and I'm sure there was debate at the time about the appropriateness of the show for kids. You know, it flirts with the line of what might be too much for kids to handle. In fact, it's probably a lot of kids' first exposure to the horror genre was probably through this show. Do you have an opinion about how much is too much, where the line is with this sort of thing with kids and horror media?
I would say, there's definitely got to be a line. I'm not sure I'm the person to decide where that is. There are some cartoons I watch, especially in the more recent times. I've seen some newer cartoons and beyond where I've watched some cartoons and I go, I can't believe that's in a kid's show, you know. But, then they're totally fine. I guess they're on TV, they're approved or something. So I'm not sure I know what the line is. This, I would say, definitely does kind of flirt on the line of... maybe not what's appropriate for kids, but at least with what
kids might like, maybe.
Yeah, you know, at some point in time, there's going to be a line you cross where a kid wouldn't want to watch it, you know. And I don't think I've ever met anyone who doesn't like this show, and so I think it has a good pushing boundary sort of edge to it that is probably pretty enjoyable. It's good, still good, you know, especially as a kid, you know, pushing the boundaries as to what's okay is, you know, always a little bit fun. So I think it really nails almost being too much maybe sometimes, but just in a sweet spot.
Yeah, well, I mean, it got me thinking about how the 90s was kind of like the golden period of weird kids shows pushing the boundaries of how much they could get away with, because you also had stuff like Ren and Stimpy, which is maybe remembered somewhat less fondly than this. I still have a lot of love for it, despite its creator being the biggest psychopath in the universe.
Oh, who's the creator?
John Kay, just like, don't even worry about it.
Oh, I don't know.
Point being, this Courage was hardly the edgiest thing on the air at the time. I feel like maybe in more recent years, kids networks have tightened the belt a little bit more on the appropriateness of things. But I feel like in general, in pop culture, the 90s was a kind of a time of edgy experimentation in the popular arts. I don't know, from my point of view at least. But yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, when you look at cartoons, just I guess TV in general, and that at that time, I mean, it really does like kind of go above and beyond in some of those ways of pushing boundaries. So sometimes it's pretty interesting to go back and watch it, and it's stuff like I never thought twice about growing up, but as I watched it as an adult, I'm like, oh man, I was really watching this. That's wild. But my parents were pretty strict with what we were allowed to watch and stuff. There were a lot of kids who were watching things that I could go nowhere near, things like The Simpsons or Family Guy. Like, my parents would have shot me if I watched that.
Well, my pitch for this episode was originally to cover the Freaky Fred episode, and you know why is because, well, not only do I like the episode a lot, but you, Bryce, told me that I remind you of Freaky Fred, which I am going to assume means that I'm just very iconic and cool and memorable.
That's it.
And that's why. I was originally going to have us talk about that episode, but then you were like, nah, let's talk about the whole series. I don't know about one episode. Let's talk about the entire series. So we're going to take a stab at it. This will be, in loosely defined terms, a series overview. It's been quite a long time since I've watched most of these episodes. To be honest, I haven't seen some of these in like 20 years maybe. So we're painting in broad strokes tonight, but we're going to talk about the visuals, the music, the humor, the themes, and favorite episodes. But first, some background stuff on the show itself. The show is the brainchild of John R. Dilworth. If you've ever watched interviews of this guy, he's a complete character. Really over the top and enthusiastic and weird.
Is he a complete Dilworth?
He has been known. He's known as a Dilworth about town, Bryce. Have you ever seen interviews of this guy?
No, I don't know anything about him.
He's like a cartoon character. Really over the top, like a character from one of his shows. But his influences include things like Looney Tunes, of course. That's not that surprising. But also really old Hollywood comedy stars like Charlie Chaplin and Abbott and Costello. There's old B-movies, flying saucer movies, old school creature features, and he just puts all this stuff together in a blender, and out comes Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Well, you can tell why I like it. Those are all some of my favorite things.
Yeah.
I don't know much Charlie Chaplin personally, but I do really like all the other stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Don't you like Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein in particular?
Oh yeah, I love all of Abbott and Costello. I love the radio show, and yeah, especially the movies where they meet the monsters are super fun.
Well, Dilworth's role in this show, it's kind of a rags to riches story, really, because prior to this show, Dilworth ran a New York animation studio called Stretch Films, through which he created various independent cartoons, like independently funded cartoons, basically. One of his early animation projects is a short called Smart Talk. I sent you a link to this earlier, which features characters that served as the blueprint for the Courage characters. It's available on YouTube for anybody who wants to check it out, and it is freaking crazy. There's a dog character called Hamilton who basically is the prototype for Courage, and Muriel and Eustace, at least according to Dilworth, even though they seem like totally different characters to me.
Yeah, I had never seen that before you sent that to me, and I'm surprised you didn't make that. That was my thought. I was like, is this something Nathan's working on, or?
I'm going to take that as a compliment all the way.
Yeah, it seemed so you, as does this show. I could just see you being influenced, or I could see you, working on this show or something like this. It seems it's so particular, and you're so particular, and it seems like it lines up with you very well.
Yeah, and right from this early short, you can see the very distinctive art style that Dilworth has right from the beginning. Dilworth got his big break when he submitted the very first Courage the Cowardly Dog short, The Chicken from Outer Space, to a showcase program called What a Cartoon, which was a joint venture between Cartoon Network and Hanna-Barbera, and it was a way for them to scout for new talent. Apparently, Johnny Bravo in Dexter's Lab got scooped up as a result of this showcase program as well. That's where Courage got noticed. The short was actually nominated for an Oscar for Best Animated Short Film. Talk about a meteoric rise. It lost to Wallace and Gromit, a Wallace and Gromit short called Close Shave. You ever seen Wallace and Gromit?
Oh yeah, I've seen I've seen a lot of Wallace and Gromit though. My little brother is a huge Wallace and Gromit fan, and so I got to watch a lot growing up due to him, and then I've also watched some myself. You like that show?
I do. My dad showed me Wallace and Gromit as a little kid, so I got a sentimental spot in my heart for it. It is very weird. It's the most British thing ever.
It's incredibly British. Yeah, and you're such a claymation guy. Nathan recently put out a video for one of his songs, and he's gotten back into claymation after many years, and it was absolutely incredible. You should go on YouTube and check it out. The Sleep Demons. Super, super fun. Glad to see you get back into it. And yeah, I could see, Wallace and Gromit being a little bit up your alley.
Definitely. So, the short, Chicken from Outer Space. You've seen it, I assume. They used to play it on TV as well, which is kind of cool, considering it wasn't even like an official Cartoon Network production. The animation, the art style's the same, but the animation looks pretty different. It's kind of interesting to compare.
Yeah, that's the neat thing about Courage the Cowardly Dog in general, is it has such an abundance of different mediums and art styles. Like, it's super not straightforward or two-dimensional. I mean, the amount of variation is, I find, super, super neat.
Yeah, for sure. So, this short film lost out on an Oscar, lost to Wallace and Gromit. However, the nomination obviously gave it quite a bit of street cred in the animation business, and Cartoon Network promptly picked it up for a series, which began airing in 1999. And according to Dilworth, he pitched the idea for Courage to the Cartoon Network executives while dressed in a spacesuit and a funny hat. There's even a video on YouTube of him reenacting said pitch to a live audience where he's dressed as a spaceman doing this crazy shit. He is quite a character. The suits at Cartoon Network must have appreciated his antics because they gave us 4 seasons of it. How do you like that?
That's awesome. I love hearing wild pitch stories. I don't think we talked about it, but when we did, we were talking the Hocus Pocus episode. I think that's also what they did to pitch the movie. Is they hung up broomsticks, and they just did a bunch of crazy stuff in the place to sell it, and everyone dressed up in costumes, and they had trick-or-treat candy out and stuff like that.
So, let's talk about the main characters. There's Courage himself.
The things I do for love.
I don't really know what to say about him. He doesn't have a whole lot of dialogue. When he does speak, I'm kind of not into it. I kind of just like it most of the time when he's grunting and screaming and freaking out. There was more dialogue early on in the show, but they very quickly realized that it was better to let him act with his without using words most of the time.
Yeah, some good physical comedy.
Yep, very lovable character.
Pink Beagle.
Is he pink? I guess he is pink, isn't he?
Get a pink or purple. Maybe he's hairless. I don't know. No, he gets shaved. I guess he wouldn't be hairless.
Yep, and then we got Eustace and Muriel.
What's your offer?
Where have you been?
Eustace, brr.
Hated Eustace. Always liked Muriel. very lovable characters. Do you have a favorite or least favorite character out of these three, Bryce? How do you, are you on Team Eustace or Team Courage?
Probably Eustace. I've always liked Eustace. I like Courage too. I don't really care for Muriel necessarily.
That doesn't surprise me. I just liked her because she was nice, a nice, comforting presence.
Lame. No. Yeah, I think I knew a lot of people like Eustace, and I still know a lot of people like that. And it's even when I was a kid, I was like, that'll probably be me when I'm an old man.
Well, yeah, this is kind of in keeping with the general theme of how you like bullies in media. So,
Yeah, he's pretty fun. He's pretty funny though.
he is, and he actually has like a decent character background that explains why he is the way that he is.
Yeah, he's totally terrible. He's totally terrible sometimes.
For sure.
But
It's fun fact about Eustace, actually. Originally, he was going to be constantly threatening Courage with a shotgun instead of a mask, but then the Cartoon Network executives made them change it because that was too threatening. But I actually like the mask better. I think that's pretty funny. The Ooga Booga mask.
yeah, I love that mask. But I think a shotgun would have been pretty realistic and funny as well. But I can see it being a little off the line there.
It's a bit. I mean, the show is already a lot.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, I want that Ooga Booga mask. I bet they make it. I bet you can buy it.
Yeah, that would be really good on a wall. You know, I follow a lot of mask makers, and I have not seen one yet. I had to look into that.
Well, that is a travesty.
Stupid dog! Ooga booga booga!
Okay, so let's talk about maybe the best parts of the show, and that is the villains. This is the really fun part to me. There's like a pretty good selection of villains here. Each one is so memorable. Do you have a favorite one?
Yeah. I guess I'm gonna go with just because he freaks me out so much, and that is Freaky Fred.
Alone was I with tender courage, and all his fur, his furry footage, which I say did encourage me to be quite naughty.
Again, I don't think the show ever really. Again, I think it can be kind of off-putting, but none of the characters really scared me or gave me any sort of what's the word I'm looking for.
The chills? Not even Ramses? Not even King Ramses?
No, see, Ramses is the one everyone talks about, and I don't feel anything towards him.
Really?
But Freaky Fred, man, kind of gives you the heebie-jeebies a little bit to me. So that'd be definitely my number one. I also do really like the I don't know all the names of these characters, unfortunately, but like the Space Chicken. Also incredibly frustrating little dude, but I do like him. There's that Fox, also incredibly frustrating, but I think that makes him a little bit likable. Those are the ones that come to mind, at least.
Yeah, so your favorite is actually my favorite. I was also going to say Freaky Fred. So, Freaky Fred, Muriel's nephew. I always forget that he's related to Muriel, but...
oh my god, yeah, totally forgot that also.
So he appears most famously as the main villain in the episode Freaky Fred. It's interesting how he basically presents no real threat whatsoever, despite being the most menacing character in the series, in my opinion. Even Eustace says he's a freak. He's just extremely creepy, but he just shaves people. There's no real menace there. Not really anything to worry about. But he's shown as this kind of compulsive addict, and we won't go into too much detail about what it might be an allegory for, but he definitely comes off like a sort of pervert serial killer kind of dude, but he just shaves people.
Yeah, I think you just described you.
Yeah, this definitely describes me very much.
I'm fucking with you, but no, I mean, yeah, that is like the wildest part about him is that he's completely harmless essentially, but he I don't know. I think it's the fact that he sees it as a bad thing, but then yeah, it takes into such an impulsive addiction glee, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah. So it's like it's presented like a serial killer. It develops in childhood. He has a pet hamster as a little kid, which he shaves, and then later on in life, he starts going steady with this woman that he's engaged to or in some capacity, and he shaves her head, which causes their relationship to end. And then he tries to keep it under control after that, but he relapses back into his old ways, working at a barber shop, which is probably a bad idea if you're Freaky Fred, but he works at a barber shop, trying to behave himself. And one day, this guy with a huge beard and mustache comes in to get his hair cut. He loses it, completely shaves him, and is institutionalized. And it's actually during a vacation break from his stay at the institution that he visits the family in Nowhere. And that's where he corners Courage in the bathroom and shaves him. So all he does is shave people. He's obsessed with it for some reason, but man, he leave an impact. Like I said, he harms you with his mind. That's his harm.
yeah. It's all in the smile, man.
Yep.
I think just anybody taking that much sinister glee into something does it. He needs a job at like a Buddhist monastery or something, some place where people shave their heads. You can just shave the heads of newcomers scot-free. I'm surprised he doesn't shave his own head.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. That he's got a full head of hair.
I feel like he might do it in an episode.
I think what he's into is that he's doing it to somebody else. He's into the fact that it's naughty.
Ugh, yuck. Man, speaking of Nowhere, Kansas, have you been there?
I wish it was a real place.
Sort of is. That was always super neat to me as a kid because I know it takes place in Nowhere, Kansas, which is, this is a joke on the middle of nowhere in Kansas, which a lot of places can feel like that. But there is a town, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head if it's Norville or Norwood. It might be Norwood, Kansas. But it's commonly known as and nicknamed, and I think there might even be signs up or something, that is Nowhere, Kansas. And I think it's pretty much nowhere. Like, I'm trying to remember what's all there. I know there's like some broken down trains and maybe an abandoned post office or something like that. But we used to go camping there as Boy Scouts, and I've driven out a few different times, but it exists, and it's not that far from me, probably half an hour or something like that from me right now. I got to take another trip back out there. But yeah, it is. If you look it up, most people, it's very commonly referred to as Nowhere, Kansas.
Interesting. Well, we're both Kansas boys, as we might as well say. So like we have a connection to the sense of place in this show. And what always fascinated me as a kid is that they don't even seem to be in like a town. It's literally just like the middle of nowhere. It's like Western Kansas. It's like the sort of stretch of nothing between like Goodland and the Colorado border, where it's just nothing.
If you've been to Kansas, yeah, there's a lot of places that feel like this. And if you do come, go check out the actual Nowhere, Kansas.
Most definitely. Bryce still lives in Kansas, so if anybody wants to track down Bryce and harass him at his home, I will email you his address and his credit card numbers. So, speaking of villains, there's also Katz.
Welcome to the Katz Motel. I'm Katz. Will you please sign in?
Katz, the cat, who I think you might have referred to as a fox or something.
Yeah, the little red. Is he a cat?
Yeah, he is a cat. He is.
Okay, I just thought he was a fox.
I kind of always thought he was something like that too, but no, because like one of his things is that he hates dogs. So one of the more iconic villains for sure. Katz is genuinely sinister, with this kind of posh accent. He's got like this like old Hollywood posh sort of transatlantic kind of accent going on. He has a collection of murderous spiders and often runs scam businesses in like hotels and vacation spots. He's often shown engaging in a battle of wits with courage. And he first appears in the episode A Night at Cat's Motel, in which he runs a motel that apparently only exists for the purpose of feeding his spiders. Seems like some pretty high maintenance pet ownership to me, but I've always been more of a cat person, what can I say? Courage is forced to rescue Muriel and Eustace from cats, as always, by engaging in a game of racquetball with cats. I remember this so vividly. He loses the game and is about to be dispatched by cats, but in a charming twist, Muriel knocks him over the head with a racket and saves Courage. Cats appears in various other episodes that I remember less of, but basically his deal is he owns these bloodthirsty spiders, and he has to find people to feed his spiders. So there you go. Do you have any thoughts about Cats?
Oh, just pretty memorable. Again, yeah, reoccurring character. Maybe it's the accent, but yeah, it irks the shit out of me. But I like him though. He's a very good villain. So I love how he's drawn. And yeah, he really gets under your skin. And yeah, I guess for anyone who has never seen this show, the premise is that all these paranormal, supernatural, crazy things happen in the middle of nowhere. I feel like almost like they're drawn there, or probably almost as if they're drawn there. And usually they are in some sort of way going to harm Muriel and or Eustace, and they're usually pretty oblivious to these absolutely insane things going on, and it is up to the very terrified Courage to save them, which gives into his name. As much as he's absolutely terrified of every single thing, he fights through it and saves them every time.
Well, that is the definition of courage, is it not?
It is, yes. He is very aptly named.
So speaking of needing courage, we have King Ramses. I cannot believe that as a kid you weren't at least a little bit creeped out by King Ramses. I think this might be the actual most famous Courage villain, certainly the one that everybody remembers.
Yeah, this is the one everyone talks about. Yeah, and I remember him vividly, but yeah, I would say all of them are, every villain's disturbing in his own way, but I never thought he was too special.
It's the voice with the reverb. It's the fact that he is a 3D animated model instead of a cartoon for some reason. It's the fact that he's just like standing out in the distance in the fog. It's fucked, man. I don't know how you weren't freaked out by him. You must be made of stronger stuff than the rest of us. He's a big deal in this show's legacy. It appears to be the actual Ramses himself, the ghost of a long-dead Egyptian pharaoh who haunts nowhere after his tomb is raided by some grave robbers who steal his precious slab. Ramses releases a plague of locusts on the land. The slab is then discovered by Eustace, who immediately becomes obsessed with the idea of pawning it for $1 million. And predictably enough, this pits the family against Ramses, and Courage has to then rescue the family, as usual.
Another one that I would say, gives me a little more heebie-jeebies than Ramses is, I don't know what he's called, but that like black and white floating face in the basement.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember what that one's called either. It's not one of the ones I did notes on. I think that was also just a one and done.
I can think of his face, but I remember, yeah, he's pretty spooky.
You've also got Dr. Gerbil. Do you remember Dr. Gerbil?
Is that the guy that looks like the KFC guy?
It's Doc Gerbil's world. Okay, so he's a gerbil. He's a... I've sent you the song. I'm going to send it to you again. It's Doc Gerbil's world, which you should listen to. But,
okay, I don't remember seeing that link.
It's the greatest song of all time. And I wish every song could be that song. But anyway, Dr. Gerbil is a mad scientist who disguises himself as a traveling vacuum cleaner salesman, and he uses his sales gimmick as a ruse to suck Eustace and Muriel up into his vacuum. because it's implied that he used to be a lab rat, and so now he has like this hatred of humans, and he likes to kidnap humans and do experiments on them. And so when he attacks the family, it's presumably to liberate Courage from his ownership, from his servitude, which makes him an interesting and unique villain.
Yeah.
I don't know. Seems like your kind of message. Maybe a environmentalist message to a degree.
Or there's that zombie skeleton guy too that's making a movie.
Yo, yeah. That was one of the gross ones.
Yeah. Man, that's the more I keep thinking, the more of these I'm remembering.
There's also each character is a toe on this gigantic purple foot. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, dude. So
I wouldn't want to be in this creator's nightmares or dreams or whoever he dreams these up.
oh no, Courage has got to have the worst PTSD. I always felt so bad for Courage. Yeah, dude. So that brings me to the music. Because I was going to mention that every single villain gets their own musical theme, which isn't really done in this kind of animation typically, but man, it really adds a lot to the dark presences that these characters have. Each character gets their own theme. So the music throughout this show is fantastic. The original soundtrack was composed by Andy Ezrin and Jody Gray, and you also get plenty of stock classical music here and there. That was also pretty standard practice in a lot of 90s cartoons. The soundtrack is an interesting mixture. You get that home sweet home banjo kind of stuff that feels more comforting, and then you get the more sinister B-movie kind of stuff, highlighting the horror elements. The soundtrack is one of the more memorable things about this show, I think. Wouldn't you agree?
I really can't think about I really don't recall the music besides the theme and exit song. I'm gonna have to go back and listen. I didn't know each character had their own theme.
Well, what do you think about that? The opening credits song, at least.
Oh, absolutely love it. I feel like there was a decent amount of these 90s shows, example like Erie, Indiana, that just have I don't know, non-conventional music that gives still kind of spooky, like they've got harmonica and the banjo kind of thing going on.
Not over the garden wall levels of great soundtrack, but great soundtrack. Do you have any topics you'd like to touch on, Bryce, with this show?
No, I think we hit on some of the great characters. Like I said, I'm really excited to go back and rewatch this. It's really, I don't know, it's a piece of Americana for sure. It's such a unique space for the horror genre to exist in, and such a unique space for kids TV to exist in, and it's just so incredibly unique in its own thing. Absolutely wild stuff. I'm looking at pictures right now of some of these villains and remembering more and more episodes. What about that, his computer?
Oh, yeah, that one's fun.
God, so sassy.
Yep. I kind of vaguely remember using computers that looked like that.
Right.
As a little kid. Those huge box computers.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of dated predicted the existence of AI a little bit there, you could say.
Yeah, something. I'll say I still, we're like 20 plus years out, and I still don't have a computer that can talk to me like that. Though if it does,
you don't have an Alexa?
Oh God, no.
Neither do I.
Good. None of that Alexa or AI stuff for me, buddy.
We don't have Alexas. We're real men who lift weights and drink energy drinks and have opinions about crypto.
All of that is true. Did you ever watch the special sort of last episode they ended up doing in all 3D animation?
Ah, man, I remember it existing, but I can't remember anything about it.
I remember it was terrible.
What happens in it?
I don't remember what happens in it. I've only seen it the one time, and just due to the full 3D animation of the whole thing, it was just a nightmare to watch. Again, I mean, it sort of gives off some of the vibes from that Night of the Headless Horseman movie we did. Just terrible. It wasn't a very good or interesting episode either. I didn't think, and so I was always surprised that was the last send out on it.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. Did you see that I can't believe I haven't seen this, but did you see that they did a crossover film with Scooby-Doo?
I did see that. I've never seen it. I'm shocked and amazed and astounded and surprised that you haven't seen it because it's a Scooby-Doo thing.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of it until looking this up. Straight out of nowhere, Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog. That is definitely going to be the next thing I watch.
I was expecting you to come on here and tell me all about it.
Oh, I wish I had. Again, I feel like I can't believe I just had never heard of this. Put out in 2021, which is probably why I probably haven't seen anything newer than 2005 or something. So I don't get to watch or look out for new movies or anything very often. But again, yeah, it's very surprised I've never heard of this.
So we may as well get on to the assessment of things. Now, it feels a little bit feels a little bit strange to try and rate the entire show, but that's the tradition on Calling All Creeps. So I'm going to have to pose the question to you, Bryce. How many disembodied human skulls are you going to give our boy Courage?
Boy, I am going to give Courage the Cowardly Dog show. Oh, I want to say a 7.5 out of 10 disembodied human skulls.
That is fair. That is fair.
Yeah, it's very good. I guess I don't find it perfect or anything, but I guess all things can be. But I think when it comes to Spooky Kids TV, this is super wonderful.
Is there anything about it you particularly don't like? If you had to look for something to say.
I don't know.
If I was going to scientifically examine where the other 2.5 points went, what would you say? Or is it just from sort of lack of, like, you're not necessarily overly enthusiastic about it?
See, and I guess I'm not overly enthusiastic about it, but I am enthusiastic about it. I love, there's nothing negative here. I love Courage the Cowardly Dog. I think it's like not something that's necessarily wrong with it as much as some of it just isn't 100% up my alley or my cup of tea or something like that. In terms of like usually the animation, again, it kind of does that creepy thing again, like the Freaky Fred. And again, as much as I love that character, it is still a sort of style that I don't enjoy. And I feel like a lot of characters and a lot of episodes are a style creatively and artistically that I don't enjoy. But I also think Courage the Cowardly Dog does it all super well. And so I really do like the whole show. I love the show overall. But I guess I would just say, yeah, the other 2.5 points just go to the fact that I love it for what it is, but what it is isn't 100% me.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say it is very creepy. Like, it's creepy in exactly the ways that you've described not liking. So the fact that you're able to find as much enjoyment in it as you do anyway, it speaks to its overall quality.
Yeah, the writing is. I mean, I think to me, when it comes to any sort of movie or television, or obviously music or books and stuff, but like most forms of art, it all mostly what I pay attention to is the writing. Like the writing's more important than the animation or the voice actors or how much money's being thrown at it, or I think the writing is more important to how well an instrument is played or how well a song is sung or how well it's recorded or produced.
Very well said. I would very much agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, that's something that always gets me, is that people like when you see a movie and you're like, oh, it's this movie, and then they say directed by this guy, and I'm like, what the fuck does that guy have to do with it? The only person you should care about is the writer, because if they didn't write a good story, then it wouldn't be any good. And I could care less who's acting in it or what camera angles they're doing in a film or something like that, or who's animating it. I mean, it's all important, but to me, the writing is the most important part. And so, like something like this, where like maybe the animation isn't always my favorite, or maybe some of the creative direction isn't always my favorite, or something. The writing is super good. All the stories are there. I love it. What about you? What is your rating of Courage the Cowardly Dog?
I would say I would give it a good 8 out of 10 disembodied human skulls, although the skulls are very disembodied. So that's a very enthusiastic 8 out of 10. Because, I also love it quite a bit. It does have a pretty nasty edge to it. The only thing that I don't necessarily respond to very well, I like dark stuff. I have a much higher tolerance for gore stuff than you do, and obviously there's no gore in this, but there's lots of gross stuff. I'm fine watching people's heads get chopped off all day long. People getting chopped up. I don't necessarily love super gross, disgusting, pus bleeding out of scabs kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which there's like plenty of that in this show. That's also why I avoid I like violent movies. I like gory movies. Don't necessarily want to watch a zombie movie though, where it's like, here's a close up of a guy's intestines getting pulled out or something.
Yeah.
Because that's where it's like, how am I going to eat my dinner? Like that's not scary. It's just kind of
Gross. Yeah,
disgusting.
yeah. No, I 100% agree. The movie is, just gross and disgusting, and in that sort of way. And I don't. Yeah, that's not my thing either. As much as again, I don't like gore. I guess I kind of put gore and this probably together, and how my feelings on it. But I do love violence. I mean, I'm all for violence in TV. And movies, but I'm surprised we have the same opinion on the gross factor of this.
Yeah. So there is some gross stuff in there that puts me off a little bit, but that's like a small quibble. It's not like my favorite thing in the universe, but I dig it. So 8 out of 10 I think is pretty respectable. And we're not far off. We're actually pretty well in agreement on something for once, because usually this is the Nathan and Bryce argue about stuff podcast.
Shit. Yeah, no, I almost said 8 also. I was in my head going back and forth between 7.5 and 8. I just went 7.5 instead. We almost did it though. We almost matched up.
Yeah, so with that being said, I think it's safe to say that we both recommend this to our listeners.
Yeah, no, check out Courage the Cowardly Dog show. Watch every episode, minus that 3D abomination. Probably go check out that Scooby-Doo crossover movie. That sounds super, super fucking neat. Sounds very Calling All Creeps. And I would assume your favorite episode is probably the Freaky Fred episode, Nathan?
Yeah, I would say probably. I also really like the one where they go to China and get kidnapped.
Oh, yeah.
By the princess.
I mean, I really like the chickens, and like there's also
Yeah.
what are they like? Is there a separate set of chickens, or maybe I don't think they're ducks. There's like some blue chickens also. Yeah, I do. I like all those a lot too.
The chicken from outer space one is right.
Super.
Yeah. So, yeah. We can't recommend it enough. That's what I would have to say about it. I think I've kind of exhausted the extent of my thoughts on the show without going into too much granular detail. We both recommend it very much. Bryce, do you have any closing thoughts on Courage?
Adopt, don't shop. Somewhere out there, it's a courage of your own. And so if you can find a dog on the street or in a shelter, go ahead and adopt it, and it might save you from unknown and untold terrors that may rain down upon your very life.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, there you go, man. But no, yeah. Go to Kansas, I guess, if you want to. I don't super recommend it, but, you know, maybe.
Hey, I like Kansas.
You would like Kansas. I've been trying to beg this guy to come back to Kansas, and he won't do it.
Definitely going to do a live in-person episode pretty soon here when I come visit.
When do you think you're going to come visit?
I need to get my car in the shop and get some things fixed up, and then it's just a matter of taking a few days off and coming out to your neck of the woods, man. But anyway, we appreciate y'all for listening very much. And if that's all we've got to say on the subject, then Bryce, I think you should say your magic words.
Yeah, well, again, it's the Colonel Crease podcast. Yes, thank you for listening. Check out all our other episodes. Check us out on social media. This is part of the October Society. Check all of that, all of the other great spooky media we are working on all across the internet. And tune in next week for another episode. And until then, bad dreams.
Bye. Thanks for listening.
The dead and gone, for the ones that haunt us all. R.I.P. Pour one out for the living ones who are also soon to fall, like you and me. The devil is waiting to drag me down now into an early grave. There's nothing left to save. Don't worry, don't bother, I'm feeling fine now, yeah. Freaking out on me now, don't lose your head, it's just your soul. The devil is waiting to drag me down now into an early grave. There's nothing left to say. Don't worry, don't bother, I'm feeling fine now, yeah. So they don't haunt your dreams in the night. Pour one out for the dead and gone, as we are soon to